So here we are back at the results screen for the search for punk rock and women. In this video, we'll take a quick look at what this screen can tell us about the items that came up in the search. On the left-hand side of the screen here are a number of filters that we can use to cut the results down to a more manageable number. We'll talk about these in separate videos. For now, let's look at the results themselves. So items in the results list have a standard format that includes an icon that tells us what the information source is, along with a label here, the title of the item, the bibliographical information associated with it, and then a note on the availability. So this first item is a print book entitled Burning Down the House, Punk Rock Revolution and the Fall of the Berlin Wall. Below the title is the author's name and the publication information, who published it, where was it published, etc. Below that, we learn that it is available on the upper floor of the library and its call number right here. To the right in the box, we find some useful tools. The quotation marks can give us citation information for this item. A quick note of caution, however, with citations that we get from databases like this, they're not always completely accurate. It's good to think of them as doing 80% of the work for us. The other 20% rests upon us. We need to check the citation to make sure it is accurate. Inaccuracies usually result from improperly or inconsistently entered descriptive information about the items. So with this one, let's look at the APA example. Okay, in looking at this, there are some errors here. Right, in APA, the author's name, we usually have last name, comma, and then initials for the first and middle names. In this one, we don't have those initials, and so we would need to add those. We have a needed bit of information here, first edition. That's not necessary for an APA citation. As long as we have the title and the date, that's what's important. A third thing is that when we copy this information to the clipboard, right here, it will not come out correctly, correctly indented, should I say. So here we've pasted the citation information and it doesn't come out correctly. So I'm going to go ahead and quickly add in the corrections that we need, and then we can see what that should look like. All right, so I've added the author's first initial as it should be, taken out the note on the first edition. I also noticed there was an error with the publisher, said Algonquin Books of Chapel Hill. Algonquin Books is simply what the publisher is known as. And I also went ahead and formatted it. So we need to have this drop indent here. No, excuse me, this hanging indent. Right, so when we get these citations from databases, we always need to check them to make sure that they are correct. This calls attention to our needing to know about citation styles, to know what we're looking for and looking at to detect possible errors. Next to the citation tool is a link for emailing the item record. This can be helpful in situations when we may not have time to look at an item and we want to come back to it later. Times when we are working on a group project and want to share the item with other group members, or times when we think the item could be of interest to a friend, to a classmate, or to a colleague. The pin here is for pinning the item record. When we pin items after signing in, Saint Search saves that in our account. Then if we want to come back and see our pinned items, we simply click the big pin up here in the right-hand corner of the screen. Clicking these three dots gives us access to other useful tools. Perhaps the most useful of these is the permalink tool. This allows us to pull a link for the specific item that we can share with others or use in a document tracking the sources that we've looked at. If we look at this result for the second item, we find that it is also a print book, but we find that it is available through a different library. We'll cover how to get that from another library in another video. Before we go, let's look at a result for an article because they have some different options. The basic setup is similar. You've got an icon over here and a label indicating that it is an article. Below that is the title and the author's name, and then the bibliographical information, which is a little bit different here. We have the name of the journal, magazine, or newspaper. They'll all be similar. The date, and then the publication information. And just a quick statement showing us where the term is within the article. And then a statement on availability we can check out here. Now, two things that are a little bit different here are these two icons that show up, and as we can see, they aren't always here, but these are really, really helpful for us in doing research. The first of these tells Saint Search to search to find sources that cite this article. So what has come after this article. And the second one of these tells Saint Search to find sources that this article cites in its references or works cited page. These two functions can be amazingly helpful as we conduct research, helping us find related sources.